Surprise! Welcome back to the Lap Podcast. I'm Tristan Ryans alongside the one and only Khaki Kevin Walker. We are hosting your destination Formula One podcast. We're nearing the beginning of the Formula One season, anxiously awaiting the closed test in Barcelona. Any little sneaky pictures that we can get from that are going to be coming in, well, the next week. But we're still weeks away from the official first looks at the cars on track in Bahrain. But we wanted to check in, say hello, introduce you all to a few new things that have come along to the podcast beginning this year in 2026. We've souped this thing up. We've invested into this thing to give you guys the best possible product. Before we get started, by the way, if they haven't already, hit the subscribe button. We are so close to the 100 subscriber mark that we were aiming for last season. I've been putting in a little bit of work this off season, bringing as many updates as I possibly can to get those numbers up. So give us a like, drop a comment, share the videos with your friends if you're feeling dangerous. By the way, Kevin, we have an announcement. Fun little thing. We've got a Threads account. Follow the Threads account at the Laps Pod. You can also see it right down there at the bottom of the screen. But Kevin, can you toss up the QR code in case anybody wants to? Oh, there it is. Check out the QR code. It has the entire link tree. Oh, I've got it. The entire link tree. Just click that there. You can see all the social medias that we're affiliated with. It might even lead you right back here to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it already. Long intro out of the way. Got a quick question for you, Kevin. How's the offseason been treating you so far?
The offseason has been fantastic. Your boy's done and graduated with college, so don't have to worry about that this year. And so that means even more time to put into Formula One. And I am pumped for this season. This is the first episode of season 3. I'm very excited about that. We invested, like you said, a lot of time, a lot of effort, even a little bit of dough into this operation. So we're excited for all the things that are to come for season 3. We know that there will be their ups and their downs, as there always is. But, we've made some upgrades, and we're really excited for that, including that beautiful little thing. Yeah, all of our stuff is going to be branded now with some really fine work by Tristan and some of it myself. But I'm extremely excited. I'm extremely pumped, not even just for what we have going on and the upgrades that we've made here. As you can tell, I got a mic now. But the Formula One season.
Let us know in the comments if Kevin sounds even better nowadays.
If I sound worse, then that's a bad problem. But yeah, no, I'm excited for this season for sure.
Yeah. The picture quality should also be better. We upgraded to full HD. You're seeing every little expression, every little wrinkle on our faces, and it is the best possible quality that we could muster. We've also got some added sound effects in the background. You might have heard that scrolling along in the background there. So we've done a lot to build this thing up, to add and enhance to it. And honestly, I'm excited about this upcoming season. It's going to be a hell of a busy year for both of us, but we're going to do as much as we possibly can to make sure we're bringing you guys a podcast around every single Formula One race weekend. We're going to do one ahead of testing or at least during testing. It's what it seems like. We got a lot planned for you guys, but we appreciate you all sticking around, subscribing to the channel, and being a part of this journey, especially really early. I mean, look, we're a super small channel, so any view, any like, any comment, it means the world to us, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, with all that out of the way, again, super long intro, a lot of thanks out of the way. There was one topic I really wanted to talk about as we come back into Formula One conversation, the Mercedes engine controversy. You may have heard of it. If you haven't heard about it before, I mean, happy to break this news to you. But it's a saga that I've been following closely this offseason. Mercedes reportedly found a way around a major portion of the regulations, a major change, and exploiting a gray area in the new rules, which has led to their competitors calling for some bans, calling for some harsher punishments, calling for some restrictions. Kevin, I mean, your boys, McLaren, are Mercedes engine customers. I'm sure you have a little bit of a vested interest in this. So honestly, what are your overall thoughts on this?
Well, I thought we put it to bed a little bit ago, and then it got brought back up once again. So, like you said, this is all Mercedes customers. So McLaren, Williams is in this conversation, as well as Mercedes themselves, and I want to say Red Bull is
Alpine,
also in this
Alpine.
conversation with Alpine. So a good part of the grid is being accused, by the partnership with Mercedes. Like I said, I thought we put this to bed a while ago that, we already went through, tested it, made sure there wasn't nothing wrong with it. And now we're getting it brought up again. It's not anything surprising. Everyone's going to try to take advantage of every little bit that they can going into the season. And those that don't take advantage of it are going to be pissed, and they're going to be like, hey, you did something wrong. And then they're just going to hope that something sticks at the wall. It's kind of one of those deals. But no, I want you to detail, Tristan, for the people listening at home that maybe don't know all the specifics of it. Just how much faster are the Mercedes customers and Red Bull customer engines? How much faster are they planned to be with this, exploit, if you will, of the new regulation?
Good question. And there's a lot of math that goes into this kind of thing. I want to do my best to explain it.
We don't want math.
I want to do my best to explain this as well as I've understood it, at least as well as it's been reported on. But effectively, it could be up to 15 horsepower, up to half a second per lap. In Formula One terms, that is damn near light years ahead of the competition. The question really, what did Mercedes even do? If this is the first time you're hearing about it, thank you for checking it out on our channel. But simply put, they found a gray area and worked to exploit it. The FIA's regulations are stipulating a 16-to-1 engine compression ratio. It's a reduction from the last regulation of 18-1 during the 2022 to 2025 regulation set. However, Mercedes apparently found a trick that allows their engines to essentially expand about 2 millimeters, so uber tiny, under racing temperatures, while remaining compliant with the regulation tests conducted under ambient temperatures. So what does this look like? Again, it is razor thin in real world dimensions, but when it comes to compression, that extra little bit results in a little bit of extra pressure, a little bit of extra power that's going to funnel through and push out of the engine. It makes the car, like I mentioned, that much faster. The trick was revealed towards the end of 2025, the year 2025, leaked to Red Bull through a former Mercedes engineer who came over from Mercedes to Red Bull's powertrains department. Reports are Red Bull haven't quite mastered how to implement the loophole since it was discovered pretty late in their development process. Again, this was within the last year. These engines have been developed and have been in the process of being built for the last few years. But they do have a path forward to implementing this. Ferrari, Audi, and Honda have protested this engine loophole to the FIA and were initially shut down. So if you're a subscriber of the channel, I've talked about this pretty at length. Reporting from the race revealing that Mercedes worked closely with the FIA in developing these power units. They were given the go-ahead on their interpretation of the regulations in exploiting the loophole. And you might be asking, what exactly is the interpretation? What is the regulation? This is from this year's regulation from section 563. No cylinder of the engine may have a geometric compression ratio higher than 16.0. The procedure to determine this found further within the regulations, basically, that it's going to be conducted a test at ambient temperature. So ambient temperature would be basically not at racing temperature. There's no way for the Formula One body, the FIA body, to find a proper measurement at racing speed. There's too much engine compression, there's too much heat, there's too much power. So as long as the cylinder head reaches that 16-to-1 ratio, technically you've passed. You have done a good job. You have engineered correctly. And by comparison, this was the prior regulations language. No cylinder of the engine may have a geometric compression ratio higher than 18.0. So they wrote it very specifically, but within that writing, they left a lot of little loopholes in there. So that's where Ferrari, Honda, and Audi, respectively, are all kind of taking exception. They're going, well, you said 16.1, but you left up all this ambiguity. 18.1 last year. Why aren't you clamping down on this? Well, again, Mercedes worked alongside the FIA. They exploited this loophole correctly, at least according to the initial reports. Now, as we're recording this, tomorrow They are going to have a more formal sit down to kind of explain this or re-rule on it. But by all indications, I don't think anything's going to change. Is anything going to change? We're going to get the official answer tomorrow, but at best, you're not going to see a change in regards to this specific portion of the regulations until the following season. You mentioned this earlier. There are 4 teams that are directly utilizing Mercedes engines. Mercedes themselves, McLaren, Williams, and Alpine becoming a customer this year. They're directly using these engines. Red Bull finding that trick. If they can find the exploit this season in 2026, that's going to be 12 cars on the current grid out of 22 that are utilizing this engine trick. That's not nearly enough time if they were to legislate against it right now, by the way, for Mercedes to simply rebuild and retool their engines. There's just no way. It's not feasible. It's not possible. That, again, the FIA told Mercedes were legal. So I'd be really surprised if the FIA shut down this track of development at all, given their reported okay so far to Mercedes. This is an area where the rest of the grid would have the clearance to develop towards and find. And again, that's a lot of lap time. Half a second per lap, 15 horsepower. Again, that's just, you're going to be killing people in qualifying with that level of a difference.
Let me say this.
A number of different configurations.
I was going to say this. So you broke it down, all the math and the metrics and all those different things, and you did an incredible job. And I'm not just saying that because you're my co-host. I think you did a good job breaking that down genuinely. But from a fandom perspective, man, where the hell you at, Ferrari? Like, you're already a step behind and it's 2026. We haven't even started the damn season yet. This is a must-win season for you, and you're already a whole step behind.
I mean, Ho's mad. That kind of seems to be the sentiment coming from the rest of the paddock at the moment when it comes to Ferrari and it comes to Honda and it comes to Audi. We didn't think of it, so we don't want you to do it. And that's just not how this sport works. The beauty of Formula One and the mythology of Formula One, thinking about a number of different eras, comes down to finding these loopholes, comes down to exploiting the loopholes in Formula One. Mercedes, so far, by all reports, have done that and done that legally. It's not Mercedes' fault that Ferrari and Honda and Audi could not find this exploit. And thinking about like the double diffuser when it came to Braun, thinking about ground effect tricks and little secrets of the trade, so to speak, when it came to Adrian Newey, these last regulations, you find the gray areas, you work within them, you get the approvals, you're supposed to be good to go. I would be floored. I would be floored if the FIA just decided all of a sudden, nope, not allowed. Figure it out. You've got 2 weeks to put a car together, re-put cars together, rebuild engines, blah, 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 which millions upon millions upon millions of dollars have gone into all these resources to these tracks of development for not just, again, Mercedes, but to all 3 of their customer teams. I'd be really shocked. As far as I know, they've done everything legally. And it's kind of impressive, but there's an adage when it comes to Formula One as well that listening to people who have been around this sport for a long time like to reiterate, which is if you're not making the rest of the field upset, if you're not getting protested, if you're not being investigated, you're doing something wrong. You're not doing the correct thing.
Right.
And by all accounts right now, it seems like Mercedes are ahead of the pack. That was what we had heard a lot of in 2025 going into 26, is that Mercedes were way ahead. We're expected to be front runners, which as a Mercedes fan, obviously it makes me very excited to hear that. But this could very well be that silver bullet, pun intended for the silver arrows, that the rest of the grid just haven't quite figured out. Any other thoughts on this, Kevin?
Just excited to kind of get this wrapped up. And, I'm sure there's other teams out there that have exploited other parts and other loopholes of this new regulation. And we'll find out more and more as the season goes on. And people are going to be pointing fingers at different paddocks, and everything's just going to be like, hey, you did this, you did this, you did this. And we'll see how it all ends up. But I'm ready for this one to get over. And let's just focus on the racing, gentlemen. Let's just focus on the racing.
Yeah, I mean, this is an engineering sport, by the way. The beauty of Formula One, I mean, the drivers get a lot of the center stage, but technological advancement is a huge component of this game. You could be
there's a reason why,
but if you're driving a tractor, it's not getting out of Q2,
Well, Max Verstappen has showed us that he can't put a tractor into Q2, but that's why a guy like Adrian Newey gets the Brinks truck backed up, because it's an engineering sport.
That's right. Looking at what we've got on the grid right now, though, let's take a look at some of these damn liveries. You and I differ on opinion on some of these, but I did want to highlight some of the liveries we've already seen. We've got more certainly coming down the pipe, but I want your initial impressions. I want to back and forth the initial impressions over these liveries so far this season, because I think there's a dud in here. I think there's some nice ones so far. If the 3 out of 4, at least in my opinion, look pretty good, that's going to be a nice bellwether for the rest of the grid to show up and drop these liveries. I really want to see what they look like. I want to start with the first one we got our eyes on, which was Red Bull. Kevin Walker. I've already done my reviews of these on the shorts. I'll reiterate here, but I want what are your impressions of this Red Bull this year?
I see this Red Bull and I think that looks like a Red Bull can. I don't hate it. It's not me hating on it at all. It doesn't mean that I don't like it. It's just a simple, that looks like a Red Bull can. I think Red Bull cans look crisp, look clean, look simple, sleek. I think it looks solid. I'm glad that it doesn't look like it did last year. Overall, I think it's solid. I'm glad again, I don't want to repeat myself, but I'm glad it doesn't look the same, but it doesn't shock me. I think it looks nice. I think it looks sleek, but it looks like a Red Bull can, which, it's fitting.
I mean, give it on a scale of 1 to 10. What are you rating this thing?
A 6.5.
6.5. That feels incredibly modest because I gave this thing an 8 out of 10. I think I still feel that way. I love the glossy blue. It looks brighter. It looks refreshed because we've had that matte blue, same copy paste livery effectively every year for the last 5 or 6 years. I love the Red Bull font on the front wing, which you can't see from here, but I love what they've done on the front wing, the finer details in that gloss blue. I think it works really well. I just like the color. I like something new. I like something refreshing. And I like the number styling on the cars as well. That's changed as well. Plus, I'm also liking this feature of the new regulations. There's no wheel covers. So you're seeing those spokes. It makes the wheels look a little bit more aggressive, makes the cars look a little more badass. I really like what Red Bull have done here. I think it still gets an 8 out of 10 from me. The second livery that dropped was the sister team, V-Carb. A carryover from last season without those little Red Bull gradients going towards the back of the car onto the side pods. I like how they utilize the blue striping here on as an accent, not so much as a heavy, hard hit feature, but I really like what they did here. Seeing it at Imola during a shakedown for filming when it wasn't covered on the back of a pickup truck, following Arvid Lindblad's spin, I think it really does look really good. This one to me gets a 7.5 out of 10 still. It's a big carryover from last year, but I still really, really love this one. Kevin.
I give this one a 7 out of 10. I like it. It looks nice. It kind of looks like last year's in a way. It's, but I do like how they outlined it. It's a lot more white, I think. Just off the top of my head, I think there's some more white on these ones. But overall, I do like it. I think it looks really nice. Like I said, 7 out of 10 for me.
Okay, moving forward. Haas. I like it. I do like this one. This one feels might feel a tad modest in a way, but it's because it's so very much so the brand. But I love the Gazoo Racing additions to the front wing. I like that it's also on the back of the rear wing towards the side pod covers. I like what they've done with the red striping coming up the side pods as well. It's very simplified, black, white, red. You can't really mess that up too much. But I do like what Haas have done here. I like what it looks like from a side profile. I like the just the way that they've utilized the white on this car. If anything, you can kind of see a similar usage level of the white that you've seen from V-Carb with the Haas's. I do happen to like this one. I think I gave this one about a 7 out of 10 as well, because there's only but so much you can do, but there's not a lot of ways to mess up black, white, and red, simply put. I think it does a really good job of representing that Toyota Gazoo Racing brand well. I think it does a great job of representing Haas. Everything just works really well together, in my opinion.
It's hard with red, white, and black because it's difficult not to make the Haas car look like a Formula One concept car just based off of the color scheme. I think they did a good job. I think overall it looks solid. I would give it a 6 out of 10 for me.
6 out of 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving finally to Audi. This is the one where you and I differ on massively.
Yeah. I think this is
Because
sexy.
you know what? I'll
like
let you take the floor. I want you to, you know what? You love this one. I'll let you take the initiative here.
I like this car a lot, and I think the reason why is because it looks like McLaren whenever they were riding chrome for 3 or 4 race weekends in a row, and I loved that chrome car. I think it looks very pretty. I think I don't think it looks a lot different than all of the Audi concept cars we kept seeing, the red and the black and the red and the black. I'm like, okay, well, we don't need another Haas on the track. And that's not what this is. I think this looks really nice. I love the color. I love how it's striped. I like the orange on the side with that chrome hit. I think it looks really nice. I really enjoy this first edition livery of the Audi we're getting this year. I enjoy this a lot. This is like an 8, pushing 8.5 for me out of 10.
See, and you and I differ on this because I said this during my short. I actually think I might lower my score a little bit more since then. I think I gave it initially like a 6.5 out of 10. I'm giving this a 5.5 out of 10. I think it's the most boring one so far. I think it still feels really naked. Looking at the side pod, there's not a lot going on besides the red and the black there. And it's kind of weird to ask for more sponsorships on a car, but I feel like maybe some added sponsors on this car might have made it look a little bit more refreshed. We had been teased for this livery prior without the sponsors. Then it felt really naked and pretty boring. I still feel mostly that way. I like the way that the red and the orange kind of like go hand in hand with that little pop. I do like that it's on the inlets. I do like that it's on the side. Depending on the lighting, it can look more red or it can look more orange. I like that from a feature perspective. Don't get me wrong. But I think it's way too safe. I think it's a little bit minimalist and it feels kind of naked. I like some elements of it. I'm just not in love with this one. Like I said, 5.5 out of 10. And to each their own, don't get me wrong. But it is kind of weird to me that the BP logo on the back of the fin on the back of the car there is the one thing that's non-color oriented for this car. It also just kind of throws me off just a bit. That's my opinion, though.
Well, let us know. Let us know in the comments, TLPs, who's right, me or Tristan? Because it can't be both of us.
Yeah, it certainly couldn't be both of us. As far as what we're still waiting for, by the way, we're waiting on Mercedes, who are dropping on the 22nd. Ferrari and Alpine are dropping on the 23rd. And Ferrari have kind of teased just a little bit of what they've got going on when it comes to their race suits. A lot more white striping for this year's livery is probably anticipated here. The HP blue logo, though, is probably still going to be massively prevalent on this car. They've been adding in blue a little bit more each year. I'm not sure if these are going to be the final helmets that we see from Lewis and from Charles, but if they are, okay, not a huge change from last year. Of course, these might still be the same ones, but a lot of white striping added to the race suits. To me, that speaks that we're probably going to see a lot more white striping on this year's Ferrari. I don't hate that. Alpine have teased pink, a lot more pink this year from their social media. Williams, we're going to see them on February 3rd, so a long wait between livery reveals. Williams got that new logo, kind of an homage back to the older Frank Williams days as well. So I'm curious to see how they're going to implement that on the new car. If it's going to be a big feature thing, if it's going to be a bit of a smaller, more detailed thing. I'm really curious. I think Williams have made some pretty more standardized, but some pretty solid liveries, nothing offensive. Cadillac, they're dropping theirs during the Super Bowl, which I think is an interesting way to try to get people pumped up from the American fan base. We apparently have a leak. This is the alleged leak of the livery for Cadillac. It is black and white. There is no color you can really glean from this, although you can see the American flag in the background. Maybe that's for some kind of like promotional shoot. But white car, black. We'll have to see what the final product looks like. This was leaked to Twitter. You can see the handle of the user who did leak that. Overall, I think I like it, but that's just a hair of it, and I want to see if they're going to add any actual color to this car. And then finally, your boys, McLaren, alongside Aston Martin, February 9th. What do you think is going to happen with McLaren, Kevin?
I'm pretty sure we're just gonna get a copy paste of McLaren from last year. I'll be shocked if we get hardly anything different. I mean, we'll get a couple of different sponsors and all of that, but for the most part, it's gonna be pretty much what it's been for the past. And hey, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Which I'm pretty sure I said that exact thing coming into last year because we got
But now
pretty much
you
a
want to
copy
fix it?
paste. No, I'm fine with it. I think it's the sexiest livery on the grid, and I'm definitely not biased when I say that. So
Certainly not biased, he said with the orange background. And Aston Martin
You gave
also
it to
dropping
me.
on the same day. They're probably not going to do too much different. They've got a beautiful green livery that's basically worked the entire time they've had it. That green Aston Martin, it's kind of iconic. If they won more races, and if anything, if they were like legit championship contenders, which they're trying to become with Adrian Newey, I mean, the Aston Martin green would be something. I don't know. I just really love the Aston Martin green. I'm a big fan of their cars. I like the colors that they use. It's very classic, very British. But
I want
wouldn't
more.
expect that to change.
I want more white on the Aston Martin this year. I think a little bit more hints of white would make it pop a little bit. If they're
I can see why
taking
you'd say
notes.
that. I don't think I necessarily disagree, but expect this thing to be very green and remain very green.
Yeah.
Final little bit before we walk into another break this off season. Excitement factor heading into this season. What are we most excited for, Kevin? What's one of the things you're the most excited for heading into 2026?
Well, I'm just excited for the year. Another year of Formula One, another year of studying, another year of watching and waking up really early or staying up really late. I'm excited that we're in a new regulation because that gives room for a ton of different changes, a ton of chaos. I don't expect a repeat champion. I don't really expect a repeat constructors winner, but all things are on the table. Hell, Williams could even get into the fight in the top 4 this year. You never know. So it's really exciting because not just one team starting from ground zero; they're all starting from ground zero. So it's exciting in that aspect that it's going to be so new with so many new things, and we're all going to be relearning, and that I think that makes it really fun.
I'm really excited to see who's going to be the big shock to start the new regulations. Like Audi's engine sounds sick, and those leaks, do they have a shot at surprising people with wins? I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that much, but seeing maybe if they come out early and are factors in the midfield, maybe Red Bull falls back and leaves the door open for someone else to jump into the top 4. Aston Martin could very well be in that picture. Williams could very well be in that picture. If the engine is really that sick, maybe Alpine, some good aerodynamics, they could shock people there. Seeing if Mercedes are who we think they're going to be. Is this George Russell's year? Is this going to be a new era of, Mercedes domination that everybody keeps expecting? And then all the driver drama that we're going to have on tap in 2026, because there's so many unconfirmed seats for 2027. Speculation about what Max Verstappen's going to do. If Red Bull do, in fact, have a really rough go of things by the summer break, if he's not top 2 in the championship, he can exercise some clauses. So it's going to be all to play for in 2026 because there's so much uncertainty, because it's such a big refresh, because there's so much new. 2026 is going to be chaotic on and off track. That is what I'm the most excited for, honestly. That is what I'm the most excited for. Let us know down in the comments, by the way, TLPs, what you're the most excited for in 2026. What do you think is going to be the big story? What are you looking forward to the most? What's your soft or bold predictions for 2026? Let us know down in the comment section below. But with that, this surprise episode of the Lap Podcast is going to be coming to an end. We want to thank you guys for watching or listening all the way to the conclusion. If you haven't joined the rest of the TLPs yet, subscribe to the channel. It costs absolutely nothing at all. Helps massively with the algorithm. We are still chasing that ever elusive 100th subscriber. That could be you. You could be 99. You could be 100. You could be 101. We take all kinds. Until next time, that is Khaki Kevin Walker. I'm Tristan Ryans. Be safe, be well, and let's go racing.